Today I want to share with you how we can pray for our nation. Daniel chapter 9. In Daniel chapter 9, we see his vision of the 70 weeks, but today I want to focus on his prayer for these people because it's a pretty awesome way to pray for your country. In fact, it's everything we've looked at and how we're told to pray, Daniel actually does. He says in verse 4, I prayed to the Lord my God and made confession, confessing for a nation, saying, O Lord, great and awesome God who keeps covenant and steadfast love, remind God who he is and remind yourself who God is when you pray. Verse 5, we have sinned and done wrong. How does he do it? How have we done this? Verse 6 says, we have not listened to your servants, the prophets who spoke in your name, to our kings and our princes and our fathers. These prophets spoke and we ignored them. It was like, oh, doom and gloom. We don't want to hear about this anymore. But you know what? We should have listened. Verse 8, O Lord, to us, O Lord, belong shame, and to our kings and our princes, leaders that we elected. We can say, God, we elected some people that did some bad things. And our fathers have done some bad things. That's what you confess to the Lord. Verse 9, to the Lord our God belong mercy and forgiveness. We have rebelled against him. We have not obeyed your voice. We've not been walking in your laws. We have not obeyed your voice. Again, it says a few verses later, and the curse and oath and the law of Moses are poured out upon us. In other words, what you said would happen has happened. Now we're in exile. He says, and still, verse 13, we have not turned from our iniquities. So even Israel in exile was not turning from their iniquities. They weren't turning back to God. And so Daniel is praying for them and saying, God, we need you. He says in verse 18, oh my God, incline your ear and hear. Open your eyes and see our desolations, the city that is called by your name. For we do not present our pleas before you because of our righteousness, but because of your mercy. It's a great line. We're praying not because we're worthy of your answer, but because you're merciful. Verse 19, O Lord, forgive. Don't delay because of your city and because of your name. His reason for praying was not that they had deserved it. His reason for praying was so that God's glory could be restored. And he prays, forgive us. How appropriate is that for us to pray for America like this today? When we say, God, we have a nation where we've committed 1 million abortions this year. 1 million little babies. Violent murders taking place all across the country. We have such degradation in our Hollywood and on television. We have politicians that are corrupt and people in authority that are corrupt, and we're seeing it in the media. We're seeing it in every realm of life. And Lord, this is our country. This is because we have failed to obey your laws. These are things we need to confess before God today. Join me in praying for our nation and asking God to forgive us and to turn our hearts back to him.